Not him worrying about Wu's Wei when he's the one in jail. 大家好, hi guys, it's Sinead and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm reacting to episode 23 of Revenge Love. We're so close to the end. I'm very curious to see how this episode goes. Hope you guys will enjoy it. Before we do get into it, however, I just want to say a quick thank you to all my amazing patrons and channel members. And if you're interested in joining either of those for uncut and exclusive reactions, links will be in the description below, along with my social media and my PO box. And if you want to subscribe, that's always greatly appreciated. But now, without further ado, let's get into today's video.
据说幕后黑手是一个叫王振龙的人，这人你们认识吗？都到谈婚论嫁，
王振龙，你干什么？
That was unexpected.
王振龙
It's honestly surprising this man doesn't have a concussion or something because of how
过了这么久还是不
reckless
肯
that
放
guy
过
is.
他现在人在哪儿？城西的废弃仓库里，把电话给我，我去会会他。啊，等会。
Sir, have you seen your size? The fact that he's beat you up twice already is not giving me any confidence as to your ability to handle him.
王振龙，
And there's thugs. Why did you not bring thugs of your own?
来了。少他妈废话！
I
坐
love
下
that
这
he's
是不是
just
你干？
sitting there waiting for something. Like, does he not have a better
这不是大名鼎鼎的古奇琼
thing to keep his time occupied with?
你和驰骋的事，没想到啊，当初我那2板砖没把你脑子拍傻，倒是把你的性取向拍变了。
Oh great, now he's freaking homophobic to top everything else off.
驰骋，你们3个人，
你有气就冲我来，干嘛要牵连驰骋？
Yeah, and why would he be bothered by this? Because, like, it's not as if this has anything to do with you. He's just bored, needs a life, is an uninspired villain. I don't know. But also, I just realized technically he has had some boxing training, so that could have been a very satisfying callback to Long Jin helping him, but with the 2 bodyguards here, I have no hope.
那驰骋到底给了你多少好处啊？他到底把你伺候的多少？
Are you interested?
这个词
Are you sure you're not actually gay and just
孬种！
too ashamed
迟
to
早
admit
背地
it?
耍一招线。
Oh,
老子的这条腿就不会废。
when did that happen? Okay, that's a fair reason to.
去啊，法院让警察看看。
我报了呀。
And they realized you were
这么
full
大
of
一笔
crap?
假账。
I think he meant he called the police on Chicheng about the signing of the documents, but I was like, oh, maybe Chicheng beat him up before, like, you know, because in the first 3 episodes Chicheng was dodge, let's just put it that way. So I wouldn't have put it past episode 1 to level Chicheng to beat someone up and then lead to them suffering permanent injuries. So that would have been fair. But no, if I'm understanding this correctly, this man got into an accident on his own because he recklessly drank and drove. And you want me to feel sympathy for you, sir? Why do you not have a game plan?
求人没你这么
Who's
穷。
away? You should know better than this. The type of person who is willing to hit you over the head with a brick twice is not the kind of person you go in to negotiations alone without a plan.
我求求你。你说什么？
Because now you officially block any chance he might have had to take time to analyze the situation, make informed decisions, and maybe not fall into someone's trap. Or like at the very least have a counter trap.
老子却只能一辈子用这个破拐棍。
Look, I'm not saying what you went through isn't bad, but please don't pretend that number one, you weren't responsible for it. Number two, there isn't worse situations that you could have found yourself in. You could have killed someone, you could have died yourself, though that is less likely when you're drunk. You could have ended up completely immobile, like in a vegetative state. There's a lot of things, like having a limp is not the worst of it, and a lot of people might even say you got off lightly considering the other people's lives that you carelessly put in danger with your own actions. To be fair, generally a limp does also come with chronic pain, but I'm not feeling very charitable towards this particular person.
怎么才回来？王振龙没怎么找你吧？
没有，我这不好好的吗？
暂停了。
This better be a ruse.
也暂时停工了。
那你之后打算怎么办？
从头开始呗。回去继续卖糖人。不知道。有吃的吗？我饿了，我一天没吃饭了。
好，我去给你们做点夜宵。
好。
They were the cutest couple.
你就当他在家里住着呢，平时不也3、5个月不回来吗？
这能一样吗？他平时什么
Oh,
情
I
况我
really
清清
don't
楚
like
楚。
you.
他都不知道他自己姓什么了。
你还跟他置气
His dad is？
你就这么一个
doing
儿子，
something else.
你还真就什么
No
都不
wonder
做，让他去坐牢。
his son fell for someone like Wang Shuo
叔叔阿姨好。
and
我是无
got
所
so
谓，
warped at
我
some
来看看
point.
你们。
我们驰骋从小到大都没缺过什么，他不可能为了这点小便宜而铤而走险。
驰骋，确实是。
So you're like, I acknowledge that I know my son well enough that I know for a fact he wouldn't do something like this, and he wouldn't just do it for any stupid reason. So I'm not, and yet I'm not reflecting on the fact that, okay, so someone must have framed him, number one, and number two, maybe there's a reason why, and maybe, heaven forbid, he's serious about Wu Suwei. And that's why he was willing to find himself in this kind of situation in the first place. Because then, by your own logic, Wu Suwei is not some small thing.
但是我绝对没有让驰骋背黑锅的意思。如果可以的话，我愿意进去，换驰骋出来的。
How about we
你现
just
在道
prove
歉
his
还有什么用？
innocence
这
instead?
罪名要是坐实了，
希望叔叔阿姨能给我个将功补过的机会。
This just feels so strange because instead of everyone being like, okay, something is fishy here, there's no way that he would do this, let's all work together to find evidence to prove his innocence, it's all about like shifting blame around, even though that won't actually accomplish anything, and just apologizing to each other or blaming each other. Like, can we do something productive instead?
这都喊上舅妈了。
哎呀妈，您看开点吧。您儿子喜欢男人这个事儿，估计这辈子改不了了。
The fact that she's still shocked by this.
他比您知道的早。喝水。
真是造孽呀！这老迟家真是要绝后了。
妈，都什么年代了，你
What
还
are
是
you
常
on
见鸡蛋
about?
那
You
套
already have one.
那个法人呢，是驰骋自己要当的。我听程宇说，那小子为了驰骋东奔西走，可费了不少劲呢。
And you already have Dodo. Like, what are you on about?
哥，天大的喜讯！
什么喜讯啊？
You're gonna think it's great news.
跟我回国一趟，这么大的热闹，怎么能不看？现在就回家收拾行李，出发，走。
Just rolled onto a bottle.
你现在不，你他妈有病啊！我刚刚劝你半天你不走，好，我现在一提无所谓，你给我来精神了是吧？走，回国。
回国走。
哎，我就是觉得你
As
脑
if
子有
we
什么问
need
题。
them on top of anything. I don't want you guys there unless you're gonna help in some weird way.
等一下啊，帮我
Weird. Oh my word, is that yeah.
哎呦，哎，我刚刚给他打电话，他没接啊，他是不是？你不是你爹妈亲生的？
Ah!
他说我不是爸妈亲生的，
你本来就不是啊，跟你说过多少次了？
你这不是开玩笑的吗？
开玩笑的。
Oh my goodness.
你凭
For
什么
all
说？
his scheming, this guy is not the brightest.
笑什么笑？信不信我把糖盆子扣你头上？
哎，走了，
Ah!
刚回国，
That's weird
时还没长回来
expression.
呢，先走了。
啊，这个是吧？来，看看吧，新鲜的。
亲生的，抓紧，快去！又胳膊肘往外拐。
It would have been so great
yeah.
if he had done the like sugar figurines thing as a cover for like scoping out and digging for new information or something like that. I don't quite know how that would have worked out, but it's frustrating to feel like there is not really anything being done.
估计是看驰骋落难，回来嘲笑他吧。
你说汪硕回来嘲笑他，我信。汪震肯定不是。现在人家不在了，你倒是大方起来了。
等他出来，还不得指着他呀？
Multiple reason to be very careful with your money right
我
now.
觉得呀，就应该拿这个袋子装一袋子零钱，让他觉得啊，这是你一点一点赚的血汗钱。
我要2个。
就这个吧。
哎，钱啊！
Okay, she is waiting for someone. I didn't recognize the name, but I'm sure. Well, I'm hoping I'll recognize the face.
小伙子，你还不走啊？这都12点了。
卖完这几个我就走。
哎呀，这里都……哎，还真见鬼了。
雷烟帅，
I'm assuming that's the guy who got him to sign the falsified document.
跑啊！不走，真不跑了，我错了，我不跑了。
I feel like I kind of would feel like there should have been an easier way than to hope that you'd run into him. That's nice. At least they're looking after you after beating you up. Sorry, that was mean.
你不说，今晚
Where did you randomly pull the knife from? A scalpel would have made more sense.
我奶奶从小把我带到大的，我不能就这么眼睁睁的看着我奶奶在我面前疼死。
So funny to me that it's always like the people who are just being taken advantage of that they showcase here. It's never the ones that are just legitimately selfish and they weighed the things and they were like, I can get a better job elsewhere and have this money. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's always funny to me how it has to be like for a good proper cause where you can feel sympathy for them. It's never just a scummy person who did not value or care for the destruction that they left in their wake.
龙过来找我，他让我按他们公司财务交代，去做假账。
According to so he is
我就能给我奶奶用最好的药。
in trouble because he basically said copy what my company's finances look like, right?
把石总给送进去了，然后他就不肯兑现尾款了。
Ah, surprise, surprise! Scummy people do scummy
谁信你
things.
说的？真的。
What? A bank account that has no transfer proof? Oh, okay. That's better. I mean, you could hand that in as an
我说你
evidence.
再不把钱给我，我就把这个事捅出去。他说这个事捅出去了，我们俩都得玩完。
Yeah, and you could probably get a lightened sentence for actually helping the police get to him.
你不就是想让我去自首吗？想让我去指证是王振龙指使我诬陷了池总。
You caused a mess. You need to clean it up. It's not like they actually owe you anything. They could take your phone and just take it to the police at this point.
王振龙也才给你100万，我自首了。进去蹲个几年，出来之后，我职业生涯基本全毁了，500万。
Where is Chungyu when you need him? Like, I get that this is important, that Wusui is the one doing all of this himself, but at the same time, support from friends would be appreciated. And it would be nice to kind of see them all come together to save Chicheng instead of it being a solo endeavor by Wusui.
律师，让他好好吃饭吧。
Okay. It's so funny, I was not expecting a random character that we met twice in the first episode to be the person who ends up messing everything up. I at least thought it would be Yuya. I guess it's because of Yuya, but still.
别想了。
Easier said than done.
大卫，你原来不是挺爱占小便宜的吗？怎么现在跟我这么见外啊？真的不用你们操心。
I am worried about you because you look not well. And it doesn't feel like you have a plan. You keep walking into the biggest
我已
problems.
经，请你把烟掐了。我妈生前最讨厌有人在家里抽烟。
Yo, I got so angry I went off for cons. It's not like they own the house yet. Well, now you're not getting the house.
把我椅子都烫坏了。
不是，哎，你这人，你这房子还卖不卖了？不卖别耽误我们时间了啊！我后边好几家还等着我看呢，是吧？
卖，
We'll bill you for the cost of the table.
全款，一次性付清。不是说好600万？不是，这房子市价都700万了。
哎，不是，你到底是不是着急卖房子用钱啊？我跟你说啊，反正就500
But
万。
I don't
我以后
trust
没有
this guy to even
爱卖
have
不卖
5 million.
哎，卖，怎么能不卖呢？您别着急呀、
I get that, like, in the same way that Chung gave up his snake, this is
成交。
potentially an important
但是有条件
symbolic thing, but
房子的格
it
局
just
不能动。
feels like Wusui is rushing into a lot of situations without thinking it through.
你这下边埋金子了？
没买，
不是没埋金子，你还搁着心头树干嘛呢？
你就说答不答应吧。
How are you gonna check? How are you gonna make sure that they don't follow through with what you agree?
啊，合同里加上这些。
好。
I weirdly wasn't expecting this episode to be this heavy. And I think especially not like in this way. It was a nice transition.
我听说警察和不知道，就是有点慌，可能是太久没见了吧。
I would have felt a lot better about the actions that Wusui has taken if Chicheng had already been visited by the lawyer had already looked at the case, said it's not looking good, and then it was like, okay, last resort, we need to do all of these things that are questionable, put ourselves in danger, and means that I have to potentially sell my mom's house. Whereas now it's like, oh, okay, so the lawyer found clues that could potentially mean that all the things that you've done weren't even necessary.
来的人是谁啊？一会儿你见到就知道了。
As a police officer, shouldn't you be a little bit concerned that your charge to this just like left your line of sight?
你怎么还瘦了？
Not him worrying about Wu Sui when he's the one in jail. To be fair, Wu Sui is like skinny as hell even on the best of days, so I can understand that Chicheng might be concerned if he notices him having lost even more weight.
我想你了。你想我没？想。
I'm glad that they're not beating around the bush with it.
你说什么？
哎，是啊，你的案件过2天就公开审理了。
That's not a lot of time.
那你为陈宇借钱啊？
因为我们2个才是一家人。
Yeah, but I mean, I like. At the end of the day, it is technically Wu Sui's choice, but there's also this thing of like, as much as it's your choice to give up what is yours for someone else's sake, it is worth considering whether or not the other person would be able to bear the guilt of what you're giving up for their sake. And I don't know, it also feels a little bit like, and I'm only saying this because, you know, a story is generally the more ideal world than the real world is, so I just wish there had been a way to prove Chicheng's innocence without having to sacrifice, because this feels more like, okay, you have to sacrifice because Chicheng is guilty and he's not, you know. There's a bit of a frustration there for me, in the sense that it doesn't feel fair, and obviously life isn't fair, but I just wish we had at the very least seen more of an attempt to prove Chicheng's innocence in a legal way that didn't involve Wang Jun Long, was it? I can't remember, but that didn't involve them, that maybe called in a few favors from people we've made friends with throughout the show, and at least like shown me them trying to do that before we resorted to all this, like having to turn to people who we can't trust and who have our absolute worst interests at heart, you know?
我是铁公鸡，一毛不拔。我这回把所有的毛都拔了，我看你以后怎么对我。
I like that part. I hadn't really thought about it, but the fact that someone who has been very frugal with their money up until this point and very counting pennies, being willing to do this for Chicheng, that is, I do appreciate that. I just wish there was a different way to demonstrate it that didn't involve his mom's house, something that Chicheng knows has more than just monetary value to him. It has sentimental value as well. I feel like giving up the company would have been that for me, whereas giving up his mom's house is just so tragic. And I know that like buildings and things aren't personifications of the people that once had attachments to them, but at the same time it feels so soon after his mom's death to have to make that sacrifice as well.
很后悔，我当时应该多给你点零花钱，可现在把钱给别人才知道，
10块20块真的不算什么。其实
Wow. Leaps and bounds
我的小
today.
金库是想留着和你一起养老。如果你出不来，我要那些钱有什么用？所以
I mean, I'm
我
glad
不是买你的自
this
由，
is giving him
我是买我自己的安全。
perspective.
池城，你说句话。池城，
It's
你
a
说句
lot.
话
Give
吧。
him a second. You better not. Chung. This is basically let's break up.
哎哎，你这还有10多分钟呢。
Not the security guard being like, what the hell are you doing? We do not have enough time left in this freaking show for them to still be at this point.
你好，他已经回间房了，你也请回吧。
Thanks, dude. Sorry you had to experience that. I have very mixed feelings about this. We'll talk about it once the episode ends. Okay, let's talk about this because, as I said, feeling a lot of mixed emotions about this. On the one hand, again, I really appreciated this angle of Usui reflecting and realizing like all the things that he had money, like all the reasons why he had money meant very little to him when faced with a life without the person that he wants to share it with. And I think that was a very important moment of growth for him. And because of that, on the one hand, I hate the fact that Chicheng rebuffed it because it was such an important declaration from Usui. But on the other hand, I can see from Chicheng's perspective how it's this thing of like, you're losing everything you... Oh, why am I feeling so emotional? You're losing everything you care about for my sake. How am I supposed to live with that? I would rather sever our ties when I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get out, and allow you indirectly to keep the things that mean so much to you. Especially because he valued Usui's mom so much. I think there's a sentimental value for him in the house as well. So it's not just a thing of, oh, I made Usui sacrifice this, it's we lost this because of me. But again, I stand by the fact that it would have been nice to see them attempt to do things in a more ethical, above the board, not dealing with the scummy people that got Chung into this in the first place type of way, because they can't trust them, because they are the reason why they ended up in this place in the first place. Before we went to desperate measures, just so you don't know, just to be able to say, okay, they tried what they could on the legal route, now they feel like they have to resort to this. And maybe the reason why they didn't do that is because that's where they're going next, and that's kind of how it's going to end off, is like, okay, no, you don't have to resort to these desperate measures. You should have gone on the right path first and try that first, because then all of this could have been avoided, and that's going to succeed as like a you know, kind of a moral standing kind of thing. But if we never get that. It is going to be a little bit frustrating. I just don't know how we wrap all of that up in one episode. It feels like there's a lot of strife that like exploded here at the end, and I don't know how we handle the aftermath in one episode. Still, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought, and otherwise I'll see you in the finale. 再见。